My husband's friends called me ugly, and what he said next made me see him differently. I've never been the kind of pretty people notice. I learned that early, and I got good at keeping my head down. So when I met Charles 4 years ago at a coffee shop, I didn't expect anything. I spilled a latte all over his laptop and started panicking, grabbing napkins, saying sorry over and over. He just laughed, helped me clean it, and asked if I was okay first. Before he even asked my name, he said, "You've got kind eyes." It was such a simple line, but it stuck. After that, he kept proving he meant it. A kiss on my forehead when I was stressed, a hand on my back in a crowded room. I like your smile when I looked like a mess. When we got married, he looked at me like I was the only person on earth. Still, a small part of me wondered if he was just being nice. Last Saturday, his college friends came over for their monthly hangout. They were downstairs in the basement, loud and relaxed. I was upstairs making buffalo chicken dip, chopping veggies, trying to time everything so it stayed warm. I could hear them joking about sports and work. I told myself to stay focused. Then I heard my name, and my hands froze. One of them laughed and said, "Man, seriously? Her?" Another voice went, "What happened to your standards?" Somebody else said, "She's nice, but come on." Then they started listing women Charles dated in college like it was a contest. Remember Amber? She was perfect. They joked that Charles must have gotten desperate, or that I had some trick. My face went hot. My stomach dropped. I stood there holding a knife, staring at the cutting board like it could protect me. The oven timer beeped, and I almost jumped out of my skin. I turned it off, but my hands were shaking so bad I spilled sauce on the counter and didn't even care. I tried to walk away. I didn't. I leaned closer to the stairs and heard them keep going, like I wasn't a real person. In my head, I was 12 again, wishing I could disappear. Then Charles's voice cut through everything. Sharp, loud. "Stop. All of you, stop." The laughter died instantly. Someone muttered, "We're kidding," and Charles snapped, "No, you're being cruel." I heard a chair scrape like he stood up hard. "You don't get to talk about my wife like that in my house." There was silence, and then he went on, fast, like he couldn't hold it in. "Yeah, she's not a model. She's not going to be on some magazine cover. So what? She's the best person I've ever met." His voice cracked a little and my throat tightened. "She makes me laugh every day. When work is crushing me, she knows what to say. When my mom was in the hospital, she sat with me all night in those plastic chairs. When I wanted to start my business, everyone told me I was being stupid. Everyone except her. She picked up extra shifts so I could try, and she never once threw it in my face. When I fail, she pulls me back up." No one laughed now. Charles got quieter, which somehow sounded even more serious. "You care more about perfect faces than real life. I'd rather have one real woman who loves me than people who don't even know me." Then he said, clear and final, "If you can't respect my wife, get out." Footsteps. A rushed apology. Chairs scraping. The front door opening and shutting until the house went silent. I stood in the kitchen shaking, tears running down my face, but it wasn't the same old sadness. It felt like proof. I turned off the oven with trembling hands, wiped my cheeks on a towel, and walked downstairs. Charles was on the living room couch with his head in his hands. When he looked up and saw me, his eyes went wide with panic. "Did you hear?" he started. I didn't let him finish. I crossed the room, grabbed his face with both hands, and kissed him hard. When I pulled back, I whispered, "I heard everything." His shoulders sank. "I'm so sorry," he said. "I should have stopped them sooner." I cut him off because my voice was shaking, and I didn't trust it to last. "Charles, I've never felt more beautiful in my whole life." He stared at me like I was joking. I shook my head. "For years, when you called me beautiful, I wondered if you meant it or if you were just being nice. Tonight, I found out you meant it. Not because you think my face is perfect, but because you actually see me." I swallowed. "You're not settling. You're choosing me." His eyes filled up, and he pulled me into his arms, tight and steady. "They don't get it," he whispered into my hair. I pressed my cheek to his shoulder and said, "Good. That means I get to keep you." Now they're saying I made him lose his friends. Was I wrong?